Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight on breaking news in Berlin, where fire crews are responding to a brush fire. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We haven't seen rain in a while, and the dry conditions are the perfect recipe for fires like this. It's happening right now on Lamentation Mountain.
And you can see the smoke from the Berlin Turnpike, we're told. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot joins us live now. So, Kay, what's happening right now?
Brian and Sarah, we're next to Silver Lake in Berlin, and you can see the fire clearly. Now we're going to zoom in and you can see just how bright those flames are. Many people were outside earlier and they told me they saw it on Facebook and they came out to see for themselves. The fire is just one of many we've seen and reported on in the last 24 hours.
He says, I don't think you can go, can't go up there. My house, oh my God.
Out in Vernon, firefighters were called out to battle a brush fire in the area of Reservoir Road. The fire is being blamed on a combination of very little rain and dry vegetation. The fire burned about 9 acres of land before crews could contain it around 5:30 Monday evening.
We did have representatives from the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Their wildfire crew responded out here, and they're confident with some of our work with creating a fire line around the perimeter so it's not going to affect any residences.
And just 30 minutes south of that fire, another fire, this one on Lamination Mountain in Berlin, prompting a lot of onlookers and a large response from the fire department.
Me and my buddies were just kind of hanging out. We saw this on Berlin Buzz on Facebook. And we had never seen anything like this really before that I can remember. So kind of just caught all of our attention.
Firefighters from multiple agencies are continuing to try and contain the flames. Now, crews plan on staying on scene through the night and into overnight to monitor things from the air with a drone and on land. Live in Berlin, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Kay, thank you. Really dramatic video there. Time now for a look at the forecast, and it was just a downright hot, dry day to start the work week. We're talking temps we wouldn't be surprised to see in the middle of August.
It's pretty wild. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Samperi for a look at the forecast. Sam, it is warm out there.
Yes, it's very warm and very dry. That's right, Brent and Sarah. Only 1.1 inches of rain since September 1st. That means we're 6.35 below normal since September 1. This is just a statistic for the annual, 39.22, 1.22 above normal. But let's forget about that. This is what's important right now. We're losing the vegetation too. Things have dried up, the leaves have turned, and now they're just falling off. And so the fire danger really, to me, is very high to extreme. There's just a lack of recent rainfall. Normally we talk about this in the spring. But as we move forward, we're going to continue to stay dry. We're going to come close to another record high. We did it today. We could do it again tomorrow. Thursday, Friday, and the weekend, lots of sun, turning cooler, mostly in the upper 50s to 60s. Very dry. Elevated fire weather will continue for some time. Not much in the way of wind, of course, this time of the evening. And the weather regime we're in with high pressure. Again, we broke the record. 86 was the high up there, winds locks. Now we're down in the 50s and 60s. And then overnight, basically with high pressure and control, we're going to have temperatures down in the 50s, and tomorrow we're going to get right back up into the upper 70s to lower 80s. Coming up, I will detail the rest of the week. We'll talk about a cold front. Will it have any rain with it? What about the weekend and beyond? Details coming up in a few minutes, guys.
All right, Sam, thank you. The Inspector General's office has released its findings in an officer-involved incident that took place last year when an officer in Orange fired at a moving vehicle with a suspected shoplifter inside. We're also learning new information from video released with that report. Fox's Bridget Bureau has the details of that new report.
That report found the officer at the center of this investigation, Eric Restaino of the Orange Police Department, was not justified in the use of deadly force. This when he fired a single gunshot at a speeding vehicle believed to be involved in a shoplifting complaint. This all stemmed from an incident last September at a Burlington coat factory store in Orange, where police were responding to a 911 call for shoplifting. Another police officer was running after a man believed to be the suspect in this incident. He got into a vehicle when that officer officer got into the car as well, trying to pull him out. Monday, the Inspector General released new dash cam video showing the struggle in the vehicle between that second officer and the suspect. The footage goes on to show the car peeling off and speeding away out of frame. Somewhere in that time, the report says Officer Restaino pulled out his service weapon and fired a single shot toward the vehicle aimed at the driver's headrest. All this while the second officer was still in the vehicle. Listen.
All units, keep the radio clear. 132, you got the radio. Was that shots fired?
You can hear that shots fired call from the officer and the dispatcher as another officer follows behind to provide backup to Restaino. The driver stops not far from the shopping plaza and police quickly swarm the car. The driver is pulled out of the vehicle by two cops and then detained. The driver was interviewed later on and she told police she heard gunshots go off and stopped the car. After that, officers run around to the other side of the car and pull the passenger out. He was the one originally believed to be involved in the shoplifting case. It took several officers to take that person down. The Inspector General says officers used a taser to stop him and then bring him into custody. The report also says a third person was in the back seat of the vehicle the entire time this was going on. So as a result of the investigation, the Inspector General ruled Officer Restaino was not justified in the use of deadly force when he fired his weapon at the vehicle. The Inspector General says not only were his actions unreasonable given the situation, but it also proved to be a danger to the officer in that moving vehicle and could have resulted in his death too. Despite the ruling, the Inspector General decided not to press charges because it would be unlikely, they say, that the officer would be convicted by a jury. Not enough evidence there. They are, however, recommending the Police Office Standards and Training Council review the evidence from the report and consider canceling the officer certification as a police officer. We reached out to the officer's police department, the Orange PD, to get further clarification on his status. The Orange Police Chief says he's on administrative leave pending an internal review of the case. We'll stay on it. In studio, Bridget Bureau, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Bridget. Well, a Bridgeport construction worker is recovering after being trapped inside a building as it partially collapsed. Fox 61's Julie LeBlanc is on Stratford Avenue, where it all happened.
City leaders tell us a construction worker was buried up to his knees in the basement of this building when firefighters responded Monday morning. Then there was a secondary collapse of the foundation with first responders still inside.
I'm praying for him. So all I can do is pray for him because he's in God's hands.
Bridgeport neighbors lining the streets of Stratford Ave Monday afternoon as firefighters work to rescue a construction worker trapped inside the basement of this building after the foundation partially collapsed twice.
His lower extremities up to his knees were buried in debris from the foundation.
Firefighters were inside during that secondary collapse, shoring up the building and digging the 35-year-old man out with their bare hands.
As we began extrication, we got a lot of struts in place to hold back the foundation and ensure safety of the patient and ourselves, of course.
Lieutenant Gregory Pryor was down there with nearly 24 others working against the clock, all as the man was standing straight up, speaking with medical professionals and waiting for relief.
Everyone came together, we developed a plan, we implemented it. When things changed, we adapted the plan, and I think the men and women of the Bridgeport Fire Department couldn't have done a better job.
After 3 hours of hard work, the moment everyone was waiting for, the man made his way out on a stretcher, miraculously without life-threatening injuries.
As serious and somber as this whole thing is, it's at this point a very happy ending to what could have been a very terrible tragedy.
Now as officials work to figure out what exactly went wrong here, Mayor Joe Ganim and others are calling the actions of these firefighters heroic.
We all understand that there are inherent dangers that come along with not just being a firefighter, but a police officer as well. But the men and women, they raise their right hand and they answer the call today.
You take that oath in the beginning and you develop the right mindset, and then every day you come to work, you just do it. So whatever comes over that radio, we're going to be there.
There are now multiple agencies and departments looking into what happened here, including OSHA, city building officials, and of course the fire marshal's office. In the meantime, until they get answers, city officials say no more work will be done at this building. We are in Bridgeport. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, we have new details tonight on a deadly crash in Burlington. State police identified the driver as Tiffany Cormier and the passenger as Russell Bunn, both of Bristol. The crash happened earlier this month on Johnny Cake Mountain Road. Investigators say they found a car on fire resting against a tree. Both Cormier and Bunn were pronounced dead at the scene. Police are still investigating the cause of that crash tonight.
Well, new here at 10, the discovery of serious labor violations has shut down a multi-million-dollar real estate development. The Connecticut Department of Labor and the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection issued 9 separate subcontractors stop work orders on Thursday at the site of the former Amos department store headquarters in Rocky Hill. The violations include worker misclassification and maintaining no sufficient workers' compensation coverage. The redevelopment plan involved knocking down the 225,000 square foot building and replacing it with apartments and retail space, costing upwards of $60 million.